Hi friends, it's Deanna Williston with Our Blooming Catholic Life. And I know it's Wednesday, but this is a music book review. We do some music is one of the things that we do on our Wednesday episodes. It's kind of a Franciscan grab bag. This is a hymnal I've wanted to look at for a long time. This review will not be able to do it justice, or we'll be here all day on this hymnal. It is beyond my expectations, and I've been waiting for years to get it. It's not cheap, but it is thoroughly worth it. It's worth it for parish use. It's worth it for home use. It is worship for all retreat houses. I'm going to highly recommend this. It is actually it says both forms of the Roman Rite. I'll say we now have 3 forms of the Roman Rite. Right? There's the ancient, there's the Novus Ordo, but there's also the Ordinariate. And I think I'm going to recommend this for all forms. Not 100% sure how much the Ordinariate loves this book, but I am going to recommend it for them for specific reasons as we get in here. There are a number of blank pages, end pages, both in the beginning and the end. I know sometimes parishes like to glue things, into those nameplates and various other things. Some prayers that are used most commonly by that parish like to be glued in. So there's a number of pages available for that. It is published by Sophia Institute Press. God bless them. I will say this is the Melody edition, and if you're a choir director looking at this, there are videos, tons of videos online telling you, like they're demonstrating how to sing the hymns in here. No joke. So you can preview any song. Your choir can go and look at it. If you're trying to listen to them on your own, you can go and listen to them. I found out about this from Corpus Christi Watershed blog. I love that blog. This is published with ecclesiastical approval. It is, pardon my French, literally, as I go through this book, the Saint Jean de Brébeuf hymnal. It is copyrighted 2018 by Nicolas Viel Publications, printed in Belarus. There is then a short excerpt from the biography of Saint Brébeuf. If you've not heard of him before, he is one of the French Jesuit martyrs, what called in a group the North American martyrs, because their ministries were in like northern New York up into Canada. It says that this hymnal was created by and for choir masters and priests working in real parishes across the globe. It is the antithesis of a theoretical exercise. Based upon the authentic Catholic liturgy, it neither mimics nor builds upon Protestant hymnals. And bear with me, that is the reason that I'm not 100% sure about the Ordinariate falling in love with this hymnal quite as much as I have, because they're going to have some other hymns whose theology is solid from their patrimony, but not in this hymnal. So may or may not appeal to them. But hear the arguments out and take a look at this anyway. The guiding principle was excellence. Brébeuf and his companions wrote many letters to their superiors in French, which eventually formed the invaluable Relations des Jésuites de la Nouvelle France. Considering the difficulties, it is a wonder that anything at all was written. Many of the natives, it says Indians here, many of the Indians regarded writing as a magic and feared that it might do them harm. That is why Father Chamonix sometimes had to write in secluded places and carry letters in his clothing. St. Isaac Jogues wrote some of his letters with a hand that was missing 4 fingers. Gunpowder was his ink, the earth his table. Today, Catholic musicians face virtually the opposite problem. There's so much available of varying quality, it can be difficult to separate the wheat from the chaff. Our goal, therefore, was to include only the most excellent melodies, the most excellent texts, and the most excellent translations. Then it talks about the abundance of translations and melodies. The ancient Latin hymns contain rich theology. For this reason, we've included numerous translations, since no single translation can fully capture the meaning. I've said that over and over again. We've tried to translate them on our own, and we fail almost every time to capture all the nuances that are in the original Latin. To demonstrate the tradition of Catholic hymnology in the vernacular, we have printed extremely rare translations from the Roman Catholic primers. 1599, 1685, 1706, and so forth. The admirable way our forefathers sought to faithfully translate the Latin is nothing short of remarkable. Because such ancient translations will not always be found suitable for today's congregations, we also provide modern translations in addition to the historical specimens. For many hymns, we provide several tunes, as singing a familiar text with a different melody forces one mind to consider again the meaning, something conducive to intelligent prayer. We also provide the text alone, to which the thoughtful choirmaster can apply a melody already known by any given congregation. The traditional Catholic hymnology. While our book certainly adds much that is new in terms of texts and melodies, we had no interest in creating a new tradition of hymnology. The vast majority of our hymn selections, texts and tunes, were taken from outstanding Catholic hymnals, as will be observed from the sources provided at the bottom of each page. And there are extensive footnotes at the bottom of each page about the tune, about the text, and about some things that you may surprise you. It's really actually worth reading just the footnotes. There is then, if you notice all these many tabs, there are many sections in here. There's actually a short history, a biography of the martyr, Saint Jean de Brébeuf, encouraging to board children in masses everywhere. They can read about this, and you can see the tiny print. These are giant block quotes from the original writings of the fathers. Of course, translated. Some of them are from them exactly, and some of them are from various histories. Let's see here. 16 instructions. I love these instructions. They're marvelous. Again, just number one, I'll read you number one alone. Our book contains many beautiful melodies you will want to introduce to your congregation. However, we recommend beginning with tunes they already know. Play any new tune as an organ prelude or improvise on it during the offertory. Then have the choir alone sing it, in Latin or in English, for a few Sundays, perhaps just with the treble voices. So not the four-part harmony, perhaps just, the common voices that you're going to get out in the parish. These are ways a congregation can be taught subliminally, so the introduction of the new melody causes no consternation. It's not going to freak your parish out if you do it, introduce tunes in this way. You can also then, once they know a tune, you can introduce them to a new text that goes with a tune they already know, right? Same tune, different text. And then you can also do it in the opposite. Same text, different tunes. It talks to you about pairings, proceeding with caution, the importance of the index. The indexes in here are amazing. Then it talks about Latin possibilities. A comprehensive hymnal? Well, it does say no publication could possibly contain every hymn, especially vis-a-vis Christmas hymns, which vary according to country. If a hymn is missing from our book, we recommend printing the text in your parish bulletin. Unique treatment. Oh, again, because you could use a tune possibly that you've already taught the parish, so you could just include the words. If it is one that has no copyright domain, right? No copyright on anymore. If it's in the public domain, you could print those lyrics and glue them into these back pages. Possibly, just saying, look at the legality in your country and where you are on all this. It talks about the unique treatment. Note at the bottom of the page, melodies for the choir only. There's a couple that are going to be like, yeah, this is probably only for the choir, not for the main congregation. Unless you have an exceptionally gifted congregation, which can happen. The Last Verses collection. A discovery has been made. What? I love this. This is number 12. Prior to being released, the melodies in this book were tested by real choirs, and a discovery has been made. American choirs are capable of singing hymns from the text only, just as English choirs do. This applies to unison and SATB singing if the hymns be of reasonable length. Then there are 3 versions for the Stations of the Cross included, so that priests don't have to worry about making separate booklets entirely for the Stations of the Cross and Lent. They're back here. There's 3 versions. We'll get to them. They are in the back of the book. So you could have your hymns right here and then flip. Perfect, right? Let's go in. Does it say, are they urbanite or ancient? Dun, dun, dun. You can read their note. Capitalization conventions. They honor the capitalization conventions of each author. They didn't want to do violence to any particular author. You know, my preference is always going to be to have anything referring to Jesus or God of any form in capital, but not everybody has that, so they just went with the original. That was the way to settle that argument. And then how is it organized? They wanted to avoid strict assignment of hymns to certain feasts or seasons because doing so improperly limits them. I was looking for that yesterday. I was quite disturbed. But you'll see they do have, let some common sense prevail. So we'll get to that in just a second. Hold on. Because there is some help for that if that's something you need. Then on the last of the last of the Roman numeral pages, there's an overview. It's kind of like a table of contents, but it really is an overview. You can see it set up very, very nicely, right? There's a lot going on here. This is set up very nicely. This is actually repeated in the back of the book. I'm going to cheat and show you that now. It is the last printed page of the book, 948. So it's back here as well if you just need to flip to it quickly. You always know it's going to be in the back. This cracked me up because I was like, the Abecedaris. I don't remember Abecedaris. It's an alphabet hymn, just like how there's an alphabet psalm in the Bible. And I know American Sign Language has alphabet stories. It's literally an alphabet hymn from the 5th century. Look, each stanza starts with a letter of the alphabet. Of course, it doesn't quite work out in the translation, but you can see it's here. The translation is there as well. And it does say to sing in Latin, use any 88.88 LM tune. We'll get back to that later. And then it really does go through every letter of the alphabet all the way down to Z. And then, wait. But wait, there's more. And then you're going to see it just to the first 8 listed. So it's a little bit easier to read. So the Latin is on one side, and then on the right-hand side, it was just assistance for comprehension. So it's not like a metrical, rhythmical, rhyming kind of verses. It's just to help you comprehend the Latin if you don't know Latin. Isn't that lovely? And then it's going to give it to us. The translation, the first translation we're going to look at for this tune is by Father John Wilfrid Wallace, OSB. He died in 1896, and he has 8 verses. Again, we talked about 8 verses. And so there's multiple tunes to it. This is the first tune, second tune. Let's see if there's any more. He has a third tune, a fourth tune, the 5th tune. So a number of those are in the same key as well, but not all of them. There's one in D, and then I think 3 or 4 that are in G. And then we have one here in E flat, still to the same translator, same hymn, same translator. There is a 7th one that's in the key of C. And then again, the words for the same first 8 verses. Now we're introduced to another hymn. See how it's done? Then we're introduced to another one with an aid of comprehension. And then we're going to have, this one was translated by Monsignor Knox. And again, we're going to have it with a tune, and then we have it just by itself. Again, telling you that you can sing this one with any 88 meter, and it gives you some suggestions, but we're going to find those in the back. And then we have the same song, but this one is now translated by Bishop Edward G. Bagshaw. He died. Okay. So here it is with music. Here it is the blank one that you can sing with any 88 meter. And then we get one more translation at least. This one's translated by Father Frederick C. Hussenbeth, who died in 1872. Again, one with music, one without. And then do we have a new one? Nope. Then we have the 1619 Historic Roman Catholic translation. And that is in the 5th century and one Urbanite. And I'll show you just the first couple stanzas of those. So sometimes you have a number. I went back, I think it starts with 29. If I can flip here to 29. I was looking for Easter hymns to practice. And no, it starts on 26, the very next one. Oh, well, hymns number 26 through 49 are all the same hymn, but a number of different translators and a number of different tunes. It's Ad Caenum Agni Providi. And it is done again and again and again. At the Lamb's High Feast. Right? We all know that song, At the Lamb's High Feast. And it is in the footnote somewhere that there are different places where the "Oh, praise him, alleluia," or "Let us praise him, alleluia," it's worded different ways, and different versions put that part in different places in the song. Sometimes it's only one, sometimes it's in two places, and there are footnotes to tell you all about this. It's just wonderful. It does not appear to be in Gregorian chant, but there are some conventions. Let me see if I can find one that seem to come over. You find a really good, clear example of what I'm saying. Well, this one, if you're playing in dulcimer, this version does have the 6.5, so you would need a 6.5 fret probably to play this one, right? Even though it appears to be DAA tuning, it does have used the 6.5 in there. Come on. Like, now I can't find what I'm talking about. Find tons of those little 6.5s in there. Just randomly turning, hoping I can find what I'm talking about. Well, this one I'm not seeing exactly it, but some of it. See how normally the meter bar, there's one and then here's a double? Normally, in modern music, we only see the double bar at the end of a tune, but this one has it throughout, and that's kind of helping you know that there's a big stop, but also this long hold right here. That long hold is telling you that this is kind of going to be a different section, but it's done there. Here's one. Even though, you notice it doesn't actually give you meter. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then there's a full bar, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. But we don't have a full bar. We just have this little one. It's just a little pause there, not as big as a full bar. Sometimes you may even see a half a bar. That's a little bit more than this guy and less than this one. You can see, so you're going to learn some conventions that you can apply to Gregorian chant if you ever come across it as well, right? So I like that blend. I mean, maybe that's normal in modern music that I was just unaware of. It's not something I tend to run into other places other than Gregorian chant. So a couple times you're going to see things like that. This is another one that's going to seem a little odd, right? Full bar, little bar, right? Like a little quarter bar, full bar, double bar. And here this ends a line, and it's a little one, right? So we're going to look for things like that as well. What else? Oh, Pange Lingua. Let's get in here. There are a number of translations of this. So many. It starts on page 346. And again, there is the assistance for comprehension page. And then there is outright Gregorian chant. It is here. It is here, friends. So there is some, and you can see those little notes. If you've never encountered Gregorian chant before, see how there's a line in the middle of this clef? That line is going to be do. Whatever in between here is going to be do. This tells us the mode. So not everything is major and minor. There are 7 church modes. I talk about that in other videos, as well as this whole notation symbol. But see this little half note that's letting you know that this line, this next thing here, see, it's like a little preview. Get ready to sing this note down here. So it's letting you know. All of these symbols I have more about elsewhere. So how many do we have here? This has it in Latin. So the original is here. But I hadn't noticed. They do have, look, there's English underneath. Well, that'll help you understand it just a little bit more as well. I had not noticed they had done that. Tantum ergo was, of course, verse 5, and genitori genitoque is verse 6 of Pange Lingua. Then there's start on the translation by Father Edward Caswell, Oratorian, and he died in 1878. And it gives us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 tunes for his, see, in English. And then we're going to come upon another translation. This is translation by Robert Campbell of Scarrington. Both of these are 878787s. Yes. And there's the first tune there. Then there's another tune, and it says it's Textus Originalis Latinus. So it is probably the original, but look, it's instead of being in Gregorian chant, now it's in modern notation-ish. Second tune for translated by Robert Campbell of Scarrington. Second tune with the original Latin. Are those comparable? I'm wondering if those are comparable. Nope. Those are different keys at least. The third tune for Scarrington. Fourth tune for Scarrington. Fifth, sixth, Scarrington. They like Scarrington. He's got at least 8. Oh, 12! 12? You can never get bored singing this song this way. Then we have it again, but this time we have the historic Roman Catholic translation from 1599. We have the 1687 translation. The historic one is 878787, the 1599. The 1687, though, is 888888. So it will go to a different tune. And then we switch to another song. See what I'm saying? This book is amazing. Then there are talks about the textual copyrights in the hymnal. And that's why I'm only showing you partials of anything, because textual copyrights. But then they have actual copies in here in the color copy section. Some of the more original manuscripts that they scanned. Some old Gregorian chant. Some illuminated pages. So it's just a little section in the middle. Just a little history of hymns. And then just 2 pages on the martyrs. There were 8 Jesuit martyrs of North America. I can only show you a little bit copy, but a lovely image. Again, for little ones, could take some time, or you could use it as a devotional exercise. There's a beautiful picture of the crucifixion on the other page. It's from the Missal for St. Ursus Cathedral in Switzerland. It was painted around 1438. And then we have the English titles, which are listed alphabetically with page numbers. I didn't want to risk showing you that artwork, but you can see this is easy to see when we start a new letter. The alphabet, easy to read the titles and the page numbers. It's a little bit tiny, but easy to see. So English titles, alphabetical. Then they have the foreign titles, alphabetical. If it is an italic title, it means it was modified by Pope Urban VIII in his 1631 reform. See what I'm saying? This hymnal is beyond hymnal, right? Then we have a list of hymn tunes, which is alphabetical. And that is this is how many tunes you get, choir directors. It's insane. And they're listed alphabetical and then by meter. Again, first tune to the peculiar meter, and then you get ones with different meters. And it lists them out for you. So as long as you know the numbering system, remember I said like 878787, and it gives you the page number where you may find those tunes, and some of them are found on multiple pages. Lovely. Then you have part 1, ancient hymns. So it lists the ancient hymns. Those are the ones I was talking about before. But then we're going to have part 2, which are additional hymns. And these are the ones that are arranged by season, which are a bit more peculiar and not often used, or they're very specific for that season. Let's go ahead and look at one of those. I think it ends with that in the indexes here. Yes. Then we have Veni Veni Emmanuel, the O antiphons. Old Testament titles for the Messiah, translated by Monsignor Ronald Knox. So you can see they're back here in the back. As with gladness men of old, songs of thankfulness and praise. St. Gregory the Great. Come on, friends. Why do you not have this hymnal yet? It's amazing, right? And the footnotes are just amazing. I love this. Note bene, this text is usually sung to spires, Erhalt uns Herr, which has many variants. Let the congregation, therefore, follow the choir. Lift high the cross. That's obvious what season that's in, right? God, our Father, Lord of glory. Then we have a number of those. And that one has multiple tunes as well. There's at least 5 tunes for that one. Just amazing. Completely amazing. Then we get back to the back. And when we start the Way of the Cross, each one has a lovely print. Starts out then with verse in Latin and English from the Stabat Mater. Then the opening prayer, it does tell you in can I show you again? How small is that print though that tells you you're kneeling? But I think most people know to kneel there. But if you don't, it is there. There is the imprimatur given for this as well. Then there is the opening prayer, a little quote from Galatians 6:14. And then the next verse, the Stabat Mater. And then we start the first station, Jesus is condemned to death, genuflect, and it gives you the prayers and the versicle and response. The reading, and then the versicle and response, prayer said by all, kneeling, and then the next verse of the Stabat Mater. Again, some of the directions are really tiny, the genuflect, and where's the kneeling? I mean, that's minuscule. I guess they feel like most people would know that. An easy way around that could have been to make a symbol. Again, this is really slim, italics, and a little bit difficult to read. Not the end of the world. I probably haven't shown you the page up here. See, it's clearly telling you where you're in the 8th and 9th. That was not across the top of the hymns, of course. But we have the Fulton J. Sheen. Then we have St. Alphonsus Liguori again. It tells you a little tiny history about him in the footnotes. Yeah, tricked me. Quite the footnote on him, right? So we have Alphonsus Liguori is back here. Set up nicely. It's mostly, this one's a little bit more where they have 1 per page. The other one was a little, not so much that. And again, this one is off cycle. The one by Cardinal Ratzinger is, again, not aligned. But the St. Alphonsus Liguori is pretty much 1 page, 1 station. And then, remember, the book doesn't merely end. It has the overview page again. I know this has been a long video, and this has been a video with a long time coming. I do plan on changing these out. I have those sturdier sticky note tabs that I had gotten for Father Armando, and I can write on them, and they're a lot sturdier than these. And I'm probably going to use those to mark these sections. Now, as for the songs, what to do, there's no ribbons. We talked about that with the Divine Office book, how the ribbons get abused by people in the parish, not meaning any harm, just fidgety, all good. But when they are put directly into the book, and they're damaged, then you almost have to damage the book to fix them, and you hope you have somebody who can adequately repair them. But there is a solution, and I wish it came with the book. It did not. Divine Office, any of your Liturgy the Hours, most of your stores are going to sell these. There are several versions. This is just one that's common. It's got 5 little ribbons, different colors, right? And they're like glued in. You could possibly run these through. I don't think you can run them through a laminator because you can only run them part way and then you'd have to stop it. So I can't do it in my pocket laminator, but perhaps a parish could do this or do it right on the edge of a piece. I don't know a way to do this in a home laminator. There perhaps is a way in a more manual one. I don't know a way. Or you could sew them with a sewing machine, perhaps. Put a little bit of fabric instead of a hard plastic tab. The advantage of the hard plastic tab is, see the angles here? Now this one does need trimmed, and it's a little bit risky because you can see it's a sealed plastic, right? I'm wondering, because there is a definite edge, if I can trim the edge, because it almost fits in this hymnal. I think there may be skinnier ones yet, but perhaps the one for Christian prayer is a little bit skinnier. I'm pretty sure they sell them as replacements for this as well. But you can see I can almost get it in there. I have managed to get it in the previous video. And then I would have this set of ribbons. Another way to do this, though, is you could, of course, glue it or tape it just to the back cover of the book. That's a little clunky, right? If you can get it in here, though, you can easily use your ribbons anywhere you need to. You could make them for different seasons. If you figure out how to make these for yourself, you could use them, of course, for different seasons or different colors for first hymn, second hymn, whatever you need. So you're just going to want your ribbons to hang down, what's that, like about 2 inches longer than your book if you make one of these. And you're going to want at least 2 inches, probably more like 3 to go down into the spine. But that's going to be a great addition to your hymnal for private use. And I would say for parish use as well, could be, because a person could go in, look at their bulletin, see the hymns that are coming up and put them in. Now these ribbons in particular, I can see have been sealed when they came to me. If your ribbons have not been sealed or there is damage, get very sharp scissors and cut them usually on an angle. You can use something called fray check to seal them. I know men like to use a lighter and put them out. That to me is a little more risky, although I do that when I make the all twine knotted rosaries. I suppose if I'm doing one of these and it's not already in a book, I might be more willing to burn them. But you just burn the very edge. Use all safety precautions here, or use some fray check, which is a special kind of fabric glue to seal fabric that's going to be on the edge. You could also actually you could do a little tiny hem on each of them if you needed to. Yeah, I know. Those are things you could do. This is going to be a great addition to this book, though. Again, I'm going to have to see if I can. You can kind of see where the ceiling is. This red ribbon is so close to the edge. I can see it in the light. I don't think you can see it. I can see the shadow of it. It's a little sketchy whether or not I can cut that one, but I think I can cut the other side. Where the green is literally where the green ribbon is the whole way in, whereas the red veers close to the edge. So I may be able to trim a little bit off this, get that into my Brébeuf hymnal. I'm very excited about it. It gives the example of the martyrs. Any bored teen that is taking time to read about the martyrs, or maybe they're reading the explanation of the hymns. That's why it's great just to have around the house, because it's so comprehensive and has so much goodness in it. I just love it. I love it on so many levels. It's beyond my expectations. So I hope you get it. Check it out. Your parish may really benefit from a book like this. Friends, may God bless you and keep you. May he make his face to shine upon you. Be gracious unto you. May the good Lord bless you. In nomine Patris, Filii, et Spiritus Sancti. Amen.